In this example, we're going to create our first simple CPI message mapping and try some standard function. On the left will be the input payload. It have the customer and orders like this. And on the target side, right side, will be the output that we want to create. Okay, then let's show you this SAP Cloud Integration help file first, create message mapping. Users will come to here. I want to show you what file format or structure that is supported by CPI. For the message mapping, it support the SSD schema or the OData EDMX file that contain the OData structure, or the web service visitor file, and the Swagger OpenAPI spec JSON file. We are going to use the most common one, most basic one, the XML SSD schema file. I have created the XML SSD schema based on this free XML to SSD converter tools in here. So we can use it. Just one quick note is the one that I'm doing is I'm using this option, the occurrence option relax and type inference option relax, so that it generate or it's become a string only, which is sufficient for our mapping. Okay, now let's go to CI and let's create a new package called message mapping. And this is a earlier Groovy mapping package. I'm going to rename it to Groovy mapping just to differentiate. So now we create a new iFlow that going to contain our message mapping. In edit mode, we're going to add message mapping to here, and now we're going to create message mapping. It can be any naming, but if you come from PIPO background, stands for message mapping, and you can follow this convention if you like. First, simple mapping. Then on the left will be your source message, right is a target message. Source will map to target. Now we click on this add source message. There's no resource available because it's blank. Upload from file system, and the source will be this cast tree, and we're going to add the target. cast summary. So you can view the structure here after load like this. So now we're going to map. How to map? When we first started, you have to have the concept that we should begin. The mapping is always based on the target site first. Means we check on the target, see what we want to map, and then map it one by one accordingly. The first step is this cast summary by default is already 1.1 occurrence, so we no need to map this one. Means it always will be auto created. So we now look at the row. On the row is the occurrence is 0 or many. So we have to map this row, then only the subsequent field under it will be visible in the output. So for each customer, each cast should be create one row. So we map, click on cast, drag to row, and release your mouse. Then it map already. And this next, the CID, customer ID, we also map to this cast ID. Just bear with me, this is for totally beginner. If you already know about this, you can quickly skip through this. But for the benefit of beginner, I'm going to take it one step at a time. So now we just map the CID only. Before you map all the data, it's good idea to just look it once to simulate it. You can click on simulate, browse to your local test input file. In this example, it is cast3.xml. This UI only accept the XML file. So if it's a text file, it will not be accepted. You have to change it to text extension, file extension. So if you click on test, you got your first result here. The row, the CID, ABC already mapped already. So you are in good shape. Good to map further field. And next we want to map the full name. We're going to concat first name and last name. To add the full name, you can drag this one, click, drag, and then drag it to the bottom and then release. It will come to the bottom. Then you can map. Alternatively, another way is if you want to drag, you just click on this, assign constant, so that it come to here. Then this constant is not, you're not going to use this one, you just remove it. So this is a two way you can get the field down here. And for here, you have to drag it, drag, and also drag. So here we're going to try our first function use, standard function. This is related to combine the text. So we can use it concat. There's tips over there to show you what this means. So this one, it will concat field 1 and fill to and separate by some string that you're going to provide. I am going to provide a comma, then a space, then full name. Drag connect to full name. What's wrong with this? Okay. So how to read it is, on the left is the input, on the right is the output, like this. Okay, let's continue to map other field. DOB, date of birth. And we're going to take birthday, drag the birthday. Now, for this one, we're going to convert from this year, month, day to this format. We can make use of date category standard function, date trans, and input the date, output to DOB. And here we specify the input date format and the output date format that we want. So the output format is like this. Yeah, you also can set other option, but it's not required in this case. Okay, and if we try to simulate again, yes, we get our full name and date of birth, DOB, which is okay. Now let's continue further. For the status, we're going to map. If it's L, means this is a loyal customer status. This is I, is a inactive customer, no longer have sales. And if it's an N, means it's a new customer, newly joined. So I'm going to show you you can call it new joiner approach first, then we'll show you alternative way. This one, if you think logically, if many if else statement, so we're going to see how to do the if else statement to map the status. First, I get the file here, and now we're going to status, drag it down here. We want to check whether the status is equal to L or not. So we need to use a constant, whether it's equal to else. And now we want to compare. We compare the string, so we use the string equal compare. If it's equal to L, so where is the if? Now we're going to use the Boolean if. You might be wondering why there's a if and then if and then with a s. This one you can check further, if versus if s. There's a detail block mentioning what is about. But the takeaway that I understand from it is, if you're using if those with the s, evaluate the condition, then only take the value that after the expression. If this condition true, only this part will run. Whilst if you not using with the X version, it will run this one, it will run this one also. Then based on the condition, only take whether use the value from expression 1 or 2. For me, I always choose this IFS. It's been working for me. But it actually, if it's running fine, you should not have issue either option. To see in detail, you have to go through this block. Yep, okay. Back to here. Okay, if so now this condition, if status equal to L, I am going to output a constant called lawyer. Then map to status. Here, this true is if the condition is true, then take this value, lawyer, and map to target status field at here. So now we're going to repeat for I and N. You can repeat whole thing, drag and drop again, but if it's a similar pattern, you can use this way, copy paste, copy expression. What you can do is, you want to copy this whole thing, you come to this 3 dot and copy expression. Now expression copy already. I click on this one so that it has a bigger screen to work on. Then I'm going to paste the copied expression in the editor. Click this one, it will like magically paste it here, and you can change a bit and the rest will remain the same. So this one is I for inactive, and this one will link to the false. Okay. This one. Okay. You can drag it, arrange it to your liking, but this one is really take time, so I will not tidy much on this one. Okay. So next, I'm going to paste again. And this one, if it's N, mean it's new. And this time I don't want to use the if because there's no else condition. If I use this with the empty string also is fine, but we want to check on other Boolean operator. This one, if without else, you click one time, you will come to this window. If you don't want this one, delete it. This one mean we only check the if there's got nothing, then it will just end. So this one, okay, if the is end, the true will be getting this value. Yep, the full will be like this one. Then yep, okay, let's run it one time to see in action. Oh, I clicked the OK. Let me go in the message mapping again. Click on simulate. Okay, L we get lawyer, I we get inactive, N we get new, which is good. Okay, now total sales. Total sales is we want to get all the amounts under particular customer, for particular customer. For class A, we're going to add all this 100, 500, 1000, 2000, and the cent also. So now I will give you a glimpse of the context, what it means. Okay, I'm going to map like this first, but this is not the final ones. This is just to easy way to get the necessary file down here, then we can view. Okay, now if we click on this three dot and display queue, you will see there's a 5 value. One is like a white background, then with the darker gray background. This is this means a context already. Let me show you what it means. So you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To further elaborate, okay, let me do this one. Click on 3 dot and the context, I change it to orders. Let me show you first, then you will see clearer what it means. Okay, now you see the amounts is grouped together. These four in one group. We call it one context. Context means they are belonging to same level. Means these four amount, if we take it on this ORD level, means they are different ORD. But if we talk about orders, all these four amount, they belong to the same orders. So it's like we say if we change it the context to orders, they are belong to same level already because they all contain inside orders. That's why when we change the context to orders, we will see this. This is what we want because we want to sum all the value together if they belong to the same customer. So so after we get this, next we're going to apply a statistic function which is sum. This sum, you see the note there, calculate sum of all number in each context. Yeah, so each context have different value. Let me map this one first. What the? Okay. That's why I doesn't really like graphical mapping. All this take a lot of time. But let's go through this because this is a foundation. It's very important if you're going to support graphical mapping. Okay, now we want to see this sum function in action. What does it really do? So we click on this three dot, display queue. Okay, you can see all these four amount sum together. This 91 cent, 10 cent, group it together because only one, and this two amount sum together become this value. Yep, we have this total sales map already, and total count. Total count is you want to see how many order for each customer. We're going to apply similar concept, but now we're using the count. Okay, we choose this ORD because for every occurrence is count as 1. So you have 4, then will be 4, value will be 4 after the count. Okay, to see in action. Four, 1, 2. Yeah. Okay, lastly, we just run it to see all the field mapping in complete. Yes, and we get what we want to achieve here. Yeah, actually one last thing. With this example, we're going to format the amount. Okay, to do this, we can in the total here after sum, we use the arithmetic format numbers function. Okay, here we can use this $sign 0.00 format. The decimal point is dot. Yeah. For this format now, how to use the format, you have to search the keyword SAP PI format num. You should see something here. Format num, sender function, format num. So far I found that this standard function documentation, it seems like not able to see in the CPI help file. Instead, it's inside the on-premise PI, PO help file only. So this is where you see all the function, where to see the details, how to use it. Okay, back to here. Okay, we get a format already with the $sign in front, and also ending with the 2 decimal point. Okay, after we are done, we click OK and save it. Okay, and here I'm going to show you one more thing is on the simulation. Here, simulation start point, you can click this one, and simulation endpoint like this. When you click on the icon here, this icon, double click on it, you can input the body. Click OK. Then we can run simulation. Simulation complete successfully. So from here, this small envelope, you can see the payload here, and after the mapping, you can also see the body, which is what we did in the simulation also, simulate step. Yep, this is the first simple message mapping. Okay, thanks for your time.